the way you process your notes is just as important as the way you take them. This is because going over your notes actually deepens your understanding and greatly improves your ability to explain and apply that knowledge. And it will help you pass the exam. Now, before we get started, I want to mention that this thing about telegraphic sentences. A telegraphic sentence is just a few key words. You just write down the important details that you think you might possibly forget. Next thing, questions. Coming up with questions covering the material you just studied might seem like a strange thing to do, but is actually helpful in several ways. Writing questions can really help you get clear on the meanings of the various technical terms, which will almost always convey ideas that are very new to you. In fact, it's a good practice to ask yourself how these new ideas are different from things you already know. Making questions can focus on how these ideas are related to other ideas, or on how one idea follows from another. And of course, having these questions will make it easier to study for the exam. Okay, now this is going to sound really weird. Cover up your actual notes. Cover them up. Can I put my hands? Cover them up. And then answer all of your questions aloud without looking at the notes. And say something about each of the cue words in that left-hand column that you can still see. Right? You've covered the right-hand big bit, but the left-hand column is still visible, and you can see all the cue words there. Say something about each one of them. Say what it means to you. You might feel awkward doing this. You know, you don't want to make a video of it. But it will really deepen and solidify your understanding of the most important details. The reflection phase helps integrate your new knowledge into your overall understanding of the world. Ask yourself what this new information might imply about things you already know. What might it say about how the world actually works? How could these facts be useful to someone? Does this information contradict something you already believe? And finally, think about how this information might possibly affect your life or something else you care about. Now, this review is not something you do as soon as possible after class. The things I talked about just now, do them as soon as possible after class. This review is later. You do this later. Here, you just take a few minutes every week and look over all the notes you have so far, just making sure you still remember and still understand all the things you learned. This is actually very little work, 10 minutes a week, but it can be very effective in making sure you retain your knowledge long enough to at least demonstrate that you have it on the exam. Okay, I hope this has helped.